Alanis Morrissette, CNN, and the Bluegrass State are all on this day. Hey, welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is June 1st. It is the 153rd day of the year. There are only 213 days left in 2020. It's also our 23rd week, and it is the 74th day of spring. You only got 20 days left until summer, so stock up on that sunblock. Today is Global Day of Parents. Global Day of Parents was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in 2012. The observance honors and appreciates all parents around the globe. Now, I don't really know if all parents deserve that. I mean, there's some really bad parents out there. I had a friend whose dad called him butt munch all the time, and not in a nice way either. So let's assume this is for all good parents only. Anyway, the United Nations emphasizes how important this effort is in the development of society. Good parenting means good society. The observance occurs every year on June 1st. All right, let's see what else June 1st has given us in the past. 1792, Kentucky is admitted as the 15th state of the United States. Congratulations, Bluegrass State, you made it. 1831, James Clark Ross becomes the first European to reach the North Pole. He was a British Royal Navy officer and polar explorer who was known for his explorations into the Arctic. He participated in 2 expeditions led by his uncle, Sir John Ross, and 4 led by Sir William Parry. There was something with the British back then. Those dudes just needed to discover something. You always hear about them going on these expeditions to the North Pole, to the South Pole, into the Amazon jungle. It's always something like that back in the, early to mid 1800s. 1855, the American adventurer William Walker conquers Nicaragua. He was an American physician, lawyer, journalist, and mercenary who organized several private military expeditions into Latin America with the intentions of establishing English-speaking colonies under his own personal control. Walker took over the presidency of the Republic of Nicaragua in 1856 and ruled until 1857. A little, kind of a short period there. He was defeated by a coalition of Central American armies. He returned in an attempt to reestablish his control and was captured and executed by the government of Honduras in 1860. Didn't work out well for him. Sometimes people just don't like you showing up and taking over and decide you're in charge. 1890, the United States Census Bureau begins using the Herman Hollerith tabulating machine to count census returns. This machine was originally made just for the census. Later models were widely used for business applications such as counting and inventory control. It spawned a class of machines known as unit record equipment and kind of created the data processing industry. It's in the Constitution that we have to have this every 10 years. Well, by the 1850s, the country had gotten so big, the old method of just going door to door and asking people how many who lives here, how many kids, how many veterans, things like that. They weren't able to catch up every 10 years. It was getting overwhelming. So they actually put out a request to people, come up with a better idea for us. We need ideas. He was familiar. I believe Herman Hollerith actually worked for the census, and he came up with this machine. It revolutionized how we counted things for the time. Obviously, computers do it all now, but still. 1974, the Heimlich maneuver is published in the Journal of Emergency Medicine. In case you don't know, this technique used to save choking victims from choking and essentially dying. It was noted for the abdominal thrust technique, which would help dislodge things, claiming that the old school backslap was actually causing more deaths by lodging foreign objects further into the windpipe. 1980, cable news network CNN begins broadcasting. 1990, Cold War. George H.W. Bush and Mikhail Gorbachev signed a treaty to end chemical weapon production, which this is a good thing. Knowing what I know about war, one of the scariest things is chemical warfare. It's ugly and it's bad. It doesn't just affect soldiers, and it affects the people that live in that area for decades after. Then in 1992, the U.S. Congress directed the Army to find new ways to dispose of our chemical weapons. Before, we just put them in big containers and leave them on military bases. They wanted them gone. 1999, American Airlines Flight 1420 slides and crashes while landing at Little Rock National Airport, killing 11 people on the flight from Dallas to Little Rock. It is believed the cause of the crash was because the flight crew failed to abort a landing in hazardous weather conditions that had reached the airport during the approach. The captain, along with 10 other passengers of the 145 on board, lost their lives that day. 2004, Oklahoma City bombing conspirator Terry Nichols is sentenced to 161 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, breaking a new Guinness World Record. Congratulations, Terry. You did it. You broke a Guinness World Record. Idiot. 2008, a fire on the backlot of Universal Studios breaks out, destroying the attraction King Kong Encounter, and a large archive of master tapes for music and film, the full extent of which was not revealed until 2019. The fire started when a worker was using a blowtorch to warm asphalt shingles being applied to a movie set. It took 12 hours to put out the fire. The fire destroyed 40,000 to 50,000 archived digital video and film copies of Universal movies and TV shows, some almost a century old. Some of the ones that were destroyed were the movie Knocked Up and some of the I Love Lucy episodes. 2009, General Motors files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It is the fourth largest United States bankruptcy in history. They almost beat the record. It's too bad. Movies released on June 1st, 2005, The Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. Stupid name for a movie, but it was a cute movie. I think I watched it with my daughter, and I enjoyed that movie. It's not the type of movie I normally get into, but this one was enjoyable. 2007, this is kind of strange. We just talked about it getting burned in that fire. Knocked Up was released on June 1st, the same day it caught fire a year later. That's kind of weird. Anyway, it starred Katherine Heigl and Seth Rogen, and that's a really good movie. I laughed a lot in that one. That was good. Born on June 1st, 1974, Alanis Morrissette, Canadian singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and actress. In the early 1990s, she had two mildly successful dance pop albums that really went nowhere. And then, apparently, whoever was handling her career up to that point were now out of the picture, and in 1995, she released Jagged Little Pill, a more rock-oriented album which sold more than 33 million copies globally, and it's her most critically acclaimed work. This was an amazing album when it came out. I still listen to it occasionally, or at least songs from it. Nobody actually puts on an album anymore. I'm sure people do put on albums, but it's not very common. 1981, Amy Schumer is born, American actress and comedian. She's pretty funny. She starred and wrote the movie Trainwreck. 1996, Tom Holland, English actor. He rose to stardom for playing Peter Parker, basically Spider-Man, in a bunch of different Marvel movies and Sony movies, like Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man Homecoming. He's the third Spider-Man in the new generation of Spider-Man, and he's my favorite so far. Died on June 1st, 1968, Helen Keller, American author and activist. She was the first deaf-blind person to earn a bachelor's degree. The story of Helen Keller and her teacher, Anne Sullivan, was made famous by Keller's autobiography. She died at the age of 87 after suffering a bunch of strokes like 7 years prior. 2014, we lost Ann B. Davis, American actress. Most of you know her as Alice from the Brady Bunch. I think we all wish we had a little Alice in our life back when we were growing up. Alright, so that is June 1st. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now you can go on with your day and enjoy yourself and try and forget some of the things going on in the world right now. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.